Ladies and gentlemen, Nick Nurse is out as the Toronto Raptors coach. Sources tell ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski and The Athletic's Shams Charania. Now, this is shocking news for anybody who is following. It had seemed that Nick Nurse was going to be staying, but as we're hearing right now, Nick Nurse is out. We know that the number one target for the Raptors is Ime Udoka. So we assume Ime Udoka will be the coach that they will be targeting. Nick Nurse, we heard the Houston Rockets were big fans of the man. Now, what will come down to? More than likely to the fact that what's next? And I assume Masai Ujiri. And right here, Adrian Wojnarowski just tweeted, former Celtics coach Ime Udoka is expected to be a serious candidate to replace Nick Nurse. Sources tell ESPN, which it does make sense. We reported this a week ago that they wanted to go for Ime Udoka, and we have said that if Nick Nurse does become available, it seems like the Houston Rockets are very much interested in talking contract with our man. So I definitely think this is something to keep an eye out for, as our man Nick Nurse is now a free agent. He's able to go wherever the hell he wants. I think a big thing that people are like kind of forgetting is that they have an opportunity. You know, if Nick Nurse goes to Houston's going to be a lot better this year. And the same thing with the Raptors. Maybe the defense gets better. I really have said the Raptors' fault wasn't Nick Nurse's fault. That's actually something that I've like regularly said, because I truly believe that, yeah, it's not Nick Nurse's fault, but it's definitely an interesting situation, as I think right here, the reason why Nick Nurse got fired was, they've kind of stagnated since winning a championship, even though I think that's more Ujiri's fault because he hasn't provided Nick Nurse with the players. But it just seems like it was time. All right, it was just time to move on. It was time to go in a different direction. And technically, Nick Nurse had been with the franchise for 10 years. Obviously, 5 as a coach. Only 4 as the coach, and I think it's 6 as an assistant. So I do think it's kind of crazy to think about. Damn, that it's over for Nick Nurse in Toronto, but we can all agree that he will be landing on his feet sooner rather than later. I do think that it's unbelievable that we're seeing Nick Nurse leave. I thought at this point the fact that they hadn't fired him was kind of a sign to the fact that they weren't going to fire him. Obviously, I was wrong with that assumption. And I think, I think it's definitely interesting, because you clearly know there was a rift. And I don't know. I think Ime Udoka might help them. I just also think Ujiri needs to be held accountable for not properly, loading the roster. And I know Nick Nurse, not the best developer, and he was only playing 7-man rotations, but still, he didn't have the players to play more than 7 mans. All he had were bigs on the roster. A guy like Preston Chua, Thad Young, Chris Boucher. Clearly not a good situation if you were trying, to build a team. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below. I am mind blown that our man Nick Nurse is gone. He is no longer. And, Also, why is Tristan Thompson trying to be the next? It's pretty funny. Tristan Thompson tried to be the next Michael Strahan, he said in an interview. But what are your guys' thoughts about Nick Nurse being fired? Are you guys in agreement? Did you guys want this to happen? What are your initial thoughts? Hey, I think it's something to look at. I mean, again, it goes back to the argument, Ime Udoka, yeah, hold people accountable and get better defense. But at the end of the day, if they provide Ime Udoka with the same roster as Nick Nurse was given, I don't think Ime Udoka will have success either.